Well, welcome everyone to episode number 11 of our Flatten the Curve video blog. I am Daniel Fung from MoveUp's communications department, and in this episode, I have the pleasure to be joined by my friend, my former colleague here at the MoveUp office, and now the president of the Vancouver and District Labour Council, Stephen Von Sychowski. I'm going to mess that up a few times. Stephen, welcome, and thanks for taking the time to chat with our membership.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Now, Stefan, I know you were a longtime member of MoveUp before you became a staff member at MoveUp, and then, of course, as I mentioned, now you're the president of the VDLC. And really, since you first became a member, you've always been very active in our union. And for people who aren't aware of your background, maybe you can take us really quickly through how you got to where you are now.
Sure, absolutely. I became a member of MoveUp back in 2007. I got hired at Coast Mountain Bus Company, and I started there in the customer information department, the call center as a casual. Within about a year, I made my way to part-time, then full-time regular status, and got involved in the union. And as soon as I became a regular employee, pretty much, and first became a job steward and then an executive counselor, and eventually a member of the executive board. And my coming into the job, my background and my politics meant I was already a supporter of unions, right, in general, even though I'd had no previous experience as a member of one. But coming into that job really changed my life immensely. For the first time, I had a living wage. I had, all kinds of benefits and job security that I'd never experienced before. And I got more involved with MoveUp very quickly, and also in the broader labor movement as well, including in the Vancouver District Labour Council, and which I became connected to through its Young Workers Committee. And I became chair of that committee and ended up on the executive and eventually became the second vice president. And then in 2011 applied for the union rep training program at MoveUp. And I didn't really think I wanted to be a rep, but got talked into it that this would be really great experience and education. And that was clear that it would be. As soon as I started doing it, I actually loved it and started applying for full-time jobs and ended up being a rep for many years. Prior to being elected to president of the Labour Council in 2017.
And your story is so inspiring because, all it really takes is that, you get involved a little bit and it really can build from there. And I think there's a lot of people who can look to your journey and just feel really inspired by that. Now, I know the burning question on everyone's mind is how much you miss working at MoveUp, and in particularly with me. But since I know we're on a tight schedule, so I'm not going to have you go through all that. But what I do think would be interesting for people who aren't aware would be to know a little bit about the VDLC and maybe about labor councils in general and what your role is there as the president.
First of all, I miss all the great people at MoveUp and at the office, and also the swanky coffee machine. I have to give it a shout out too. But labor councils and what I do now, labor councils are very important part of the structure of the labor movement in Canada. We bring together local movements from across the district that's sort of assigned to us through the Canadian Labour Congress, which is our parent body, and in our case, that's Vancouver, Richmond, North and West Vancouver, and some other surrounding areas. And we bring the locals together for the purpose of having a united voice, for engaging in political action, supporting one another in campaigns and labor disputes, providing education and training, and lots of other activities. And my role as president in all of that is to essentially act as the primary spokesperson and sort of the public face of the council, to provide sort of leadership and administration to the organization, represent the council at various other organizations, to government and so forth. And, we're fortunate, VDLC, in being one of the larger councils and being able to have a full-time elected officer and a full-time executive assistant. Many labor councils are fully volunteer run. And so we are fortunate to have the benefit of that. And, that helps us do a lot of the work that we do.
Now, I know one of the big events every year for labor councils across the country is Labor Day. It's a celebration of all the work that the labor movement has done, and even people who aren't so involved in the day-to-day work of the labor movement, they can point to Labor Day as celebrating the work of unions and how unions play a role in improving work conditions, improving pay for workers. And Labor Day typically involves a lot of big gatherings in person. I know last year the VDLC was part of an event that was down at the Olympic Torch at Jack Pool Plaza.
Yeah.
The year before that, there was a big event that took place on the P&E grounds at the Pacific
Right.
Coliseum. Now this year, obviously, with COVID-19, unfortunately, we're not able to gather together like that. But I know the VDLC has teamed up with the new Westminster and District Labour Council for something exciting. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't this year, host an in-person event. It was tough to let go of that. It's obviously a long-standing tradition, but we are teaming up with our friends at New West and District Labour Council to put together a virtual event, and we wanted to make sure that we marked the social and economic achievements of workers and paid tribute to their contributions, especially at this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. That pandemic has really served to expose and underline the critical fundamental role of workers and their families in our communities and in our economy and our society, right? Frontline workers are the ones pulling us through this entire crisis. And so our virtual event is going to try to celebrate and highlight those contributions. And we're going to also, of course, have Labor Day greetings from each council. We're going to have some very exciting special guests, which I can't announce yet, but some folks that will be familiar to a lot of people. And we're also going to be doing a coloring contest for kids as well. There's always kids' activities are a big part of every Labor Day event. And, sadly, we can't safely provide that this time. So we will be electronically sending out a coloring contest, and then the submissions will be, posted on our social media and stuff like that. Yeah, so it'll be exciting. We're looking forward to it very much on September 7th, and we're encouraging folks to help spread the word and plan to attend.
And for people who are interested in attending, they can get all that information either from your website at vdlc.ca or on the New Westminster District Labour Council website. That's nwdlc.ca. I know there's one other thing that's part of all the new innovations that you've got going on this year, and that's the Elsi Awards. So tell us about that and tell us how people can get involved.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest part of the virtual event, I would say. It's quite exciting. It's an idea that we got actually from the Washington State Labour Council, and it's one of the ways that we're going to be celebrating, rank and file frontline workers this Labor Day. We are doing sort of Oscar-style awards, which will recognize union members for their outstanding contributions in the labor movement. So members of affiliated locals can nominate a union member in one of four categories, which are awesome union activist, outstanding shop steward, dedicated frontline worker, and caring community activist. And we'll be highlighting 3 nominees from each of those categories in the video event that'll be released on Labor Day. So right now we're encouraging those submissions, and the form to submit nominations is also on the websites that you just mentioned. So we're asking people to nominate those awesome labor activists that in your workplaces and your unions, and we will have an opportunity to highlight some of their stories.
That's awesome. And I know there's so many great, really deserving people who have done so much and have given so much of their time to help the labor movement move forward. We know a lot of those people who are MoveUp members as well. So really encourage people to get those nominations in, again, vdlc.ca or nwdlc.ca. Now, Stephen, I know you're a busy guy, so we have a few more minutes here, and I want to talk a little bit about, I know one of the things that the VDLC does is that they share information about and also support a lot of different campaigns that affiliate unions do. And there are so many that I'm sure you know of. But let me put you on the spot a little bit. I want to talk to you about Move Up's Driving Public campaign, because I know you and the VDLC have been big supporters of the campaign. The campaign is about educating the public on the benefits of public auto insurance, not only for individual drivers, but also the community benefits that come with it. That includes things like investments in road safety and road infrastructure, jobs, community grants, and so on. And now with the new enhanced care model that's coming to ICBC in May 2021, that's going to mean a savings of an average of $400 for drivers each year. But it also means your care is going to go up. It's going to go up from what we have right now, which is $300,000 in our current system, to $7.5 million. And that's care that you can count on, because when you're in an accident, that care is going to be prescribed to you by your doctor or by your healthcare expert, not by ICBC or not by lawyers. And I know you as someone who counts on driving as being part of your work, but as also someone with a young family, what does the value of public car insurance mean to you, especially with this new system about to come into place?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, Labour Council, we've definitely been big supporters of the Driving Public campaign, endorsed it and promoted it to our affiliates and our social media and so forth. This really crucial changes need to be made to repair ICBC after years of mismanagement by the BC Liberals that have left it in, to quote one minister, a dumpster fire. And, it's such an important public service, and it does such a lot of good for our society, much of which it doesn't often enough get credit for. On a personal level, I think that these changes are a way of putting ICBC back on track and making sure that it is going to remain for future generations, for my daughter's generation and those who come after. But I also think, as you mentioned, it's going to be a huge plus for families, for people who drive and pay car insurance, right? It'll be a money savings for folks. And that's sort of part of the intent of ICBC, right, is to provide affordable insurance for those who need it. And some of that intent was obviously lost by the former administration, right? And so I think it's a return to its mission in a lot of ways. And it's good to see that happening. So, my personal experience, past and present, and also my belief based on a lot of recent media stories that we've seen about skyrocketing insurance rates in other areas, certainly suggests that if anything, the government should now look at moving towards providing other types of insurance through ICBC, especially for tenants and for homeowners who are seeing, really crushing increases in a lot of different forms of insurance for people in their homes. So, yeah.
It's definitely an interesting conversation that's being sparked. And I really do appreciate you also mentioning all the good work that they do that people don't often see, because I know our members, and this inside and out, how passionate they are about their work and how passionate they are about serving their communities. So
absolutely.
It's a great shout out to all the people that are members who work there.
That's right. I had the pleasure of being the union rep for them for a couple of years, actually, when I was working at the Move Up office. And I know firsthand the dedication that those folks have to providing that service to British Columbians.
Absolutely. Well, again, Stephen, you mentioned September 7th, Labor Day. That's just a little bit over a month away. So while people are getting ready, make sure you obviously mark that day on your calendar to spend the day with the VDLC and the NWDLC online in the virtual Labor Day festivities. And of course, to also get your Elsie nominations in. We want to see our members being recognized. So hopefully people who are watching this, get onto those websites, submit your nominations. Stephen, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. I know you're going to be working very, very hard towards that day, and as along with all the other incredible work that you're doing. And I really, really appreciate you making the time to join us today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Nice talking to you.